morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ and here's your detailed weather forecast update for Tuesday the 5th of August 2025. Still heaps to talk about as we move through into the last month of winter. A strong cold front is approaching Tasmania from the western side and that's expected to bring showers and strong winds to the southeastern corner of Australia. We've got some cloud moving in over the northern parts of Western Australia as well, and so that's going to drag in some hot weather with it into the early parts of next week. And we're also looking at some showers across the New South Wales and Queensland coastlines over the next 2 weeks as well. So still plenty to be talking about in these weather updates. If you are brand new to the channel, please do consider subscribing and also leave a like on the video while you're at it. But let's get stuck straight into things for your Tuesday morning down in the southeast of the nation. We have had a weak cold front move through yesterday, and that's dumped widespread falls between 10 to 25 millimetres through parts of South Australia, Victoria and Tasmania. Heavier falls up to 40 millimetres have been reported here and there through the northwest wilderness region of Tasmania and also into the southwest wilderness region. We've also had a few good showers and even some snowfall into the higher elevations through Victoria and parts of New South Wales as well, but conditions are now very much easing off in those areas. It's a bit of a cooler start across the western half of Victoria this morning. Temperatures in the low single digits this morning, and they're not expected to rise too far today. And as you can see on the western side of Tasmania, down in the Great Australian Bight, a strong weather system is approaching from the west. This one doesn't look like it's got too much of a punch, but it is going to impact the west coast of Tasmania from later tonight in a pretty significant capacity. So let's talk about this one right now. Showers and rainfall will continue for Tassie and parts of Victoria and New South Wales throughout the remainder of today as this cold front does begin approaching, which is going to then impact the west coast of Tasmania from later this afternoon, with strong winds increasing this afternoon and then later tonight when the main cold front, the main event itself, goes into the west coast. Showers will extend north to Victoria as well, right through the Bass Strait, and we'll see showers extending across the southwest coastline of Victoria around Warrnambool through early tomorrow morning, and showers will extend up into the southeast corner of South Australia and even up in towards the Eyre Peninsula through early tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon as well. We're not expecting anything too crazy in the way of rainfall or winds for Tassie, even through tomorrow morning when this front does move through. Peak wind gusts up to 100 kilometres an hour are expected for the west coast, but that's business as usual this time of the year, and showers and rainfall accumulations between 10 to 25 millimetres also look to be expected. There will be a bit of a westerly flow that kicks up through Wednesday and also persisting in towards Thursday as well, which is just going to bring heaps of showers from the westerly trade winds moving through as a high pressure ridge begins to build on Wednesday afternoon right through the west coast of Tasmania, and these showers won't ease off until Wednesday night, and even then they won't clear through Thursday or Friday. It looks like the west coast of Tassie is going to remain wet as this high pressure ridge continues to build throughout the remainder of the week. They'll also push some showers in towards the east coast of New South Wales and even up in towards Queensland as well through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. I'll talk about those in just a few minutes though. This high pressure ridge is going to keep temperatures very cool across the southeast corner of the nation from Thursday and Friday mornings onwards. We're expecting multiple days below 0 degrees through the highlands of Tasmania and even extending up in towards Victoria and New South Wales. A lot of locations expected to extend well below 0 on both Thursday, Friday and even Saturday mornings as well. And you can see that here on this forecast modelling here. Even Saturday is expected to be brutally cold through the higher elevations of New South Wales. Friday is going to be really cold as well. Thursday will also be quite cold. Sunday the temperatures do start to warm a little bit. It's not going to be too much better, but as this high pressure ridge begins to move into the Tasman Sea, temperatures will begin to warm up a little bit more. And it looks like that's going to drag some of the dry conditions with it, and it looks like a return to the showers and the storms throughout the southeastern Australia from about Monday or Tuesday, the 11th or 12th of August respectively there. So that will include showers and rainfall coming through for Hobart, Melbourne and Adelaide through next week, especially towards early next week. And as this southern annular mode really turns into a positive phase this week, we're expecting these cold fronts to remain really suppressed and kind of isolated to Tasmania, which could give way to a bit of moisture being dragged down the New South Wales east coast. Again, I'll talk about that in just a few moments. Rainfall accumulations, though, still do look healthy for the west coast of Tasmania, even considering the positive southern annular mode phase we're entering. 100 millimetres in the next 2 weeks of the west coast, and even falls look half decent for Victoria and South Australia. On top of the stuff that has already fallen today, a further 25 to 50 millimetres expected through a wide swathe of South Australia and even in towards Victoria as well. The heaviest falls of South Australia will be around the Mount Lofty ranges and then again into the southeast of the state. The Eyre Peninsula looking at about 15 millimetres of rainfall, in much of western Victoria looking at about 25 millimetres of rainfall. Further rainfall for these drought impacted areas of Victoria, New South Wales, South Australia and Tasmania is very much welcome, that's for sure. It's not quite the perfect rainfall that they need. They definitely need to be going at about 200 millimetres a week for the next couple of weeks in Tasmania and about 100 millimetres a week for the next couple of weeks in mainland Australia to really break this drought that they're seeing over there. But it's good rainfall, and these contributions are really going to help with their water storage problems that they're encountering in these parts of Australia. Very parched indeed. Snowfall is also looking to be quite healthy over the next next 14 hours, especially in the 7 to 14 day forecast period. There's going to be heaps of snowfall into southeastern Australia. Good snowfall accumulation still expected into the higher elevations of Tassie, though, in the next 7 days. Just considering the westerly flow that they're going to get in the next couple of days, we could be seeing a couple of accumulations of around 15 centimetres into the higher elevations of Tassie. And then, like I said, great snowfall accumulations expected after about the 11th of August into the higher elevations of New South Wales and Victoria. And that'll basically do it for a comprehensive winter weather forecast over the next 2 weeks across southeastern Australia. Let's shake things up right now and talk about something a little bit more subtropical for New South Wales. Now, with this southern annular mode, which is the swinging between a positive and a negative phase of what we call SAM in the meteorology world, southern annular mode, and that's the acronym, it's a suppression or an aggression of these cold fronts and how far north or south they end up finding themselves. In a positive phase, we've got the high pressure belt building across southern Australia, and this is for the winter months mainly, but this high pressure belt, as it builds, it suppresses these cold fronts and it pushes them a lot further south than where they would normally be. In a negative mode, which is a phase that we've just been exiting at this point in time, you get weeks of significant cold front sweeping up across the southern parts, so southwestern and southeastern Australia getting significant cold front impacts constantly. And now as we head into a positive phase, these high pressure belts are going to push these cold fronts a little bit further south. But why am I talking about this in the New South Wales forecast section? Well, when we've got a positive phase, that means that moisture can be dragged down a little bit from the tropics. So it can often be a bit of a double-edged sword for New South Wales. Whilst the winter weather stays clear of the state, we can get low pressure systems dragged down into the Tasman Sea. And after the showers we're expecting, generally speaking, throughout the remainder of this week through Wednesday, Thursday, or especially Thursday, and then into early Friday morning, into the early parts of next week from Sunday onwards, we're going to see moisture get dragged down into the Tasman Sea, and then developing in the Tasman Sea on the 13th and the 14th of August, a bit of a low pressure system begins to develop there. This is a classic setup for East Coast low development. Whilst I'm not expecting a strong low pressure system out of this, let alone an East Coast low, it does go to show that when we do have these positive southern annular mode phases where these cold fronts are suppressed quite far south, low pressure system development close to the New South Wales East Coast can really kick off, and it can kick off quite dramatically. So just wanted to share that bit of information with you whilst we're in a little bit of a quieter period weather-wise, so you understand what's going on. Proper low pressure system development is expected somewhere around mid next week, between the 12th out to about the 15th of August. I definitely expect at least one, if not two or three systems to develop in the Tasman Sea, and one of which does look to get quite close to the New South Wales coastline, at least for a day or so. And it looks like next Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, the 12th, 13th and 14th of August respectively, could be a little bit wet across parts of New South Wales. Rainfall will then clear off by the looks of things into the later parts of next week. It looks like another low pressure system might try and develop much later on into the forecast period. This one looks like it might have a little bit of bite into the Tasman Sea, but it is looking a little bit too far on into the forecast period to really make a reliable call on this system here. But case in point, when we see these cold fronts move further down towards the south, it really enhances the potential development of these weather systems into the Tasman Sea. So this is going to be something we're going to keep a very close eye on into the next couple of days. And as you can see, in the next 7 days, rainfall accumulations across the eastern states not looking too flash for New South Wales. You can see rainfall out to Sunday the 10th of August. Most of the days actually going to be falling on Thursday, where we could see 50 millimetres fall around parts of the mid-north coast and into the northern rivers coastline. There's not much rainfall on the forecast, but then later on into the forecast period, in the 7 to 14 day period here between Monday the 11th out to the 18th of August, you can see much more rainfall expected to develop around the Tasman Sea and along the New South Wales coastline in general. So again, this is something we're going to have to watch and pay close attention to in the next couple of days and the next couple of forecast updates. Sea temperatures are still piping hot offshore from New South Wales as well, so more low pressure system activity will mean more rainfall, and it could mean some pretty significant rainfall as well for the New South Wales East Coast. And before you know it, these sea temperatures will be warming once again as the East Australian current ramps up and the summer weather begins to kick in. So it's not going to be long until we're back into the high chance of receiving above average rainfall through parts of New South Wales. That's only a few months away, so enjoy the drier weather whilst it lasts. I just want to briefly talk about Queensland, because we do have a little bit of rainfall in the forecast for parts of coastal Queensland as well. It looks like through Friday and Saturday, we're going to see some rainfall showers develop across much of the Queensland coastline, including a little bit of rainfall developing into interior parts of Queensland. All in all, it looks like a whole lot of moisture is going to blow in from the east, and that's going to result in some moisture developing around the coastline, leading to some healthy rainfall accumulations. I do have my eye on a potential low pressure system offshore from the central Queensland coastline on Saturday. Normally around this time of the year, I've noticed in the last couple of years, we do see one or two of these sort of systems developing. We had one of them about 2 weeks ago offshore from the Queensland coastline, and this is another one here, a bit of a low pressure system / convergence zone developing offshore, which is going to result in some heavier falls here and there, at least for a brief period of time, which now looks to be Saturday morning. I will be keeping a very close eye on this, but just a bit of a heads up for the Queensland coastline, especially into the central Queensland coastline. It looks like a little bit of rainfall might be on the cards through Friday, Saturday, and into early Sunday morning. The places right now to keep an eye on include the Whitsundays, excluding Mackay, down to Rockhampton, Gladstone, Bundaberg, and even through to Hervey Bay and the northern reaches of the Sunshine Coast. These will be the places to keep an eye on for rainfall-wise, because there could be some interesting stuff happening here in a 3-day period, including Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Some very healthy rainfall accumulations are rumoured now on the forecast models here. 50 millimetres on the eastern west forecast, and then up to 200 millimetres offshore from the GFS forecast. Certainly something I'm going to keep a very close eye on in the next couple of days. And just over briefly to the southwest corner of Western Australia, it is looking dry throughout the remainder of the week. It's been a foggy start for the Perth metro area, if you haven't noticed already, very foggy indeed. So take care on the roads. A cold start across much of the southwest in general. A few showers still lingering here and there, but they get expected to clear up throughout the remainder of today. There will be showers on and off through the Perth metro area today, very much more on the side of off, but there will still be a few patches of rainfall here and there, but then rainfall expected to clear out through Wednesday and Thursday, and dry weather is expected to kick in from about Wednesday morning onwards until the next weather system comes through early Friday morning into Friday afternoon for the southwest capes. And then with rainfall coming into the Perth metro area on Friday afternoon, it looks like we might see a couple of good drops of rainfall here and there, and then a few days of, or a few hours at least, of dry conditions before another strong cold front comes through from the southwest on Saturday afternoon and evening. This one looks like it might pack a bit more of a punch, with up to 25 millimetres possible Saturday night into early Sunday morning. But interestingly, there's not a whole lot in the way of showers or storms behind this weather system here. It looks like Sunday is going to be a bit dry after about midday or so, which would be a bit unusual from a weather system like this. Weak high pressure system turning into a strong high pressure system, replacing the wet weather, and then again wet weather returning after about the 14th of August. So a very typical winter's pattern is expected to kick up for the southwest corner of Western Australia. Cold fronts followed by a few days of dry weather, followed by another cold front, followed by dry weather. Very typical, very quintessential for this time of the year, nothing out of the unusual at all, and rainfall accumulations are still humming along nicely for this time of the year. August in the last couple of years has been our wettest month across many locations into the southwest. It looks like this year is going to be a little bit different. July looks to be our wettest month, so I'm expecting rainfall to begin to drop off for a few of these locations along the southwest coastline. I think they had 363 millimetres or something outside of Margaret River in the month of July, so that'd be a pretty tall order to beat. And a lot of locations in the southwest are already well on track for 1,000 millimetres of rainfall this year, so that drying trend across the southwest of Western Australia that's been rumoured, that is certainly not going on, that's for sure. At least it hasn't been for the last 5 years or so. Wet winters have been great, but it looks like rainfall is now going to begin to dry off a little bit for the summer season, which is just a few months away now. Let's talk about temperatures, and this is probably the first time that we're going to talk about temperatures properly in the last couple of months, but apart from cold temperatures, of course, but warm temperatures are expected to kick up across Western Australia and extending towards Central and Eastern Australia from this weekend onwards. We're already going to start to see some warmer temperatures begin developing on Saturday and Sunday, approaching 30 degrees into parts of the Pilbara region for the first time since May, and then temperatures again properly cracking 30 degrees on Sunday and Monday. They cool down a little bit on Monday and Tuesday in the wake of that cold front moving through, but warming up again from Tuesday afternoon onwards, and you can see temperatures into the mid-30s for the first time since May on Tuesday, and then again into the mid-30s and low 30s across the wheat belt, or parts of the wheat belt and the Gascoyne region as well. You can see just outside of Killarney here approaching 30 degrees on Wednesday the 13th of August. It looks like this high pressure ridge that's going to build on the eastern side of Australia is going to funnel in that warm dry air that we're seeing develop across northern Australia down into Western Australia, and that's really going to spike some of these temperatures. And you can see 30 degrees right down to the South Australia, West Australia border on the Great Australian Bight on Thursday. Warm temperatures then moving in towards the Lake Eyre region on Friday the 15th of August, and then with these warm temperatures sweeping in towards Queensland, where mid-20s to high 20s and pushing into the 30s can be expected on Saturday the 16th of August. But it looks like next week, from Saturday the 9th to Saturday the 16th, across much of interior Australia, we're going to see above average temperatures between 6 to 10 degrees Celsius above average for a wide swathe of locations. That doesn't mean that the winter weather and the winter air is completely done and dusted. It's normally in early to mid-September that we start to see the temperatures properly begin to warm month for a lot of locations of Western Australia and into the Northern Territory and Queensland, and it won't be until October when we start seeing 40-degree days cracked across parts of Central Australia, so there's still plenty of time to enjoy the cooler weather across Central Australia, and there will certainly still be some cooler nights as well, as long as the wind remains calm. But for the time being, it looks like these temperatures are going to heat up throughout the course of next week, so make sure you do stay cool, stay hydrated, and stay aware across Central Australia with these warm temperatures there. Of course, an elevated fire danger risk is also expected to ensue across wide swathes of Western Australia, the Northern Territory, and into parts of Queensland as well, all powered by one mighty high pressure system, so we'll be keeping a very close eye on that system over the next couple of days. Meanwhile, a little bit of cloud moving through, so the temperatures will remain cool for the next couple of days or so. But that's going to do it for today's weather forecast update. I do hope you found it enjoyable or informative, preferably both. And if you have, then please do consider subscribing and leave a like on the video while you're at it as well. The support lately has been much appreciated. And again, thank you so much for all of the following over on Facebook and also here on YouTube as well. So let me know how I can improve in the comment section down below as well. And let me know if there's something else you want me to talk about in the weather forecast updates as well. Special shout out to the channel sponsors. Their names are on screen right now. Couldn't run this show without them. So again, their support is also much appreciated. And if you too want to get mentioned at this part of the forecast update, click the join button down below. It's the best way to financially support the CyclonesOZ channel. But that is all from me today, and I'll catch you on the next storm. Goodbye.